This happened back when I was just a teenager. Back before cell phones, computers, or even dial-up. I used to sit at the kitchen table for hours with the newspaper. I would be circling and crossing out job ads in the classifieds. It was the summer before I started college. I was flat broke. I had a part-time job, but it was not paying very much, and I wanted to build up some savings before classes started. More than anything, I wanted time to actually enjoy college. I did not want to just constantly juggle school and work. That is when I found the listing. It felt like a miracle at first glance, almost too good to be true really. The ad was for a retreat guide at a spiritual retreat center. The job would last 2 months, from mid-June to mid-August. The pay was a decent lump sum, but not up front, only paid right at the end. Very sneaky. But I did not really have a lot of options. They would cover housing, meals, and even entertainment during this day. All I had to do was live on site and help with day-to-day operations. To me, it just sounded like a working vacation. I was young and naive, and I did not stop to question it too hard. My dad thought it sounded relaxing, that it was probably good for me. My mom, on the other hand, was more hesitant. She had never heard of the organization and did not like the idea of her teenage child heading into the woods with total strangers. We were not especially religious ourselves, but my parents had some vague belief in higher powers, and I think the spiritual angle comforted her just enough. I called the number in the ad, and to my surprise, they asked me to come in that same day for an interview. I rushed to get ready and drove to the address that they gave me. It was a small, plain-looking building with a wooden sign that read something like the Awakening Center. It didn't strike me as especially odd at the time. I thought it was a little uncool and maybe too on the nose, but not concerning in any way. It looked like it could have been a repurposed office, or maybe even an old daycare center. Inside, it was nearly empty. Just a front desk with 2 folding chairs, a potted plant in the corner, and a sign pointing to an auditorium down the hall. A woman greeted me. She was maybe in her late 40s, polite but kind of airy. She introduced herself as Anna and apologized for the appearance of the place. Said they were in the middle of transitioning into a new space. That seemed plausible enough. The interview was short and kind of odd. She did not ask about past jobs or references. Instead, she focused on whether I was okay doing manual labor, things like cleaning, lifting boxes, and possibly even helping with construction. I told her I did not have experience in that, but I was willing to learn. She smiled and said that willingness was more important than experience. She also emphasized having an open mind. She did this a lot. I brushed it off at the time. After all, the name was the Awakening Center. I figured it was a new age religious group. I wasn't there to join their belief system. I was just there to earn some money. Whatever they were into did not matter to me. Apparently, my attitude was what they wanted. She hired me on the spot. No second interview, no background check. She handed me a lanyard with a homemade ID badge and gave me directions to the retreat site. Said I would get a full orientation when I arrived. That should have been a red flag. But at the time, I was thrilled to have landed something so easily. A few days later, I drove out to the retreat grounds. It was in a remote wooded area at the end of a gravel road. As I pulled into the lot, I saw a handful of parked cars and a large white van with the same hand-drawn Sunburst logo as the sign. Beyond the lot was a rustic-looking building. It was somewhere between a lodge and a large cabin. It was surrounded by a tall wooden privacy fence that blocked the view of whatever was behind it. Anna was sitting on the porch with a clipboard and a stack of pamphlets. She was dressed exactly the same as before. I watched her jot something down and wave a man toward the door. When she saw me, she smiled and motioned for someone else to take her place at the desk. She led me inside and gave me a quick rundown of the schedule. It was kind of vague though. Something about group activities, shared meals, and personal exploration time. That is when I noticed something strange. Everyone inside was dressed in white. The women wore loose, flowing dresses. The men wore white button-up shirts and slacks or tunics. It wasn't like summer camp, it felt ritualistic. Anna took me down a dim hallway and showed me to my room. It was very simple, just a bunk bed, bare walls, and a single window with no curtain. She said I would be sharing the space with other helpers. I'd hoped for my own space, but I reminded myself it was completely free. Before leaving, she asked me for my clothing size. I told her I'd packed my own things, but she said everyone was issued uniforms. Told me it was mandatory and not optional. It helps with cohesion, she said. I just nodded. I figured it was so guests could tell staff apart. Maybe it was symbolic. Still, something about her insistence on the matter and how quickly she moved on unsettled me. I did not say anything, but in the back of my mind, something started to itch. She led me through the rest of the building. A large dining area, kitchen, storage closets, all while listing off rules in an oddly rehearsed tone. Eventually, we reached the back of the building where she said she would show me the living grounds, a phrase she used like it meant something profound. She seemed excited, so I expected something elaborate. Instead, we stepped into a fenced-in area with scattered, bare cabins, each no bigger than a small bedroom. There was no privacy, no personal space, just rows of identical structures. In the distance, a narrow trail disappeared into the woods. Dead center stood a large, open-air gazebo. Anna called it the meditation hall. She explained they gathered there 3 times daily for silent meditation. No speaking, eating, or even bathroom breaks allowed. It was described as a time to reconnect with true nature and cosmic energy. I assumed I could just stay in my room during those times and keep to myself. After the tour, she brought me back to my room. It was a small space with a bunk bed. A white dress was folded neatly on the desk. Anna told me to change and meet her in the kitchen. That was the first moment I had alone to process everything. Everyone I'd met so far had been polite, smiling, and quiet. Most were middle-aged, though I had seen a few young kids, and maybe 2 people around my age. Still, something about the way they watched us walk by. Not just friendly, but intensely observant. It stuck with me. I changed into the white dress. It looked identical to Anna's. For a second, I hesitated. If they expected me to do labor in this, it was not practical. But I brushed it off. Maybe it was just for show. Dinner was, different. No meat, no animal products. All the food was grown on site. We ate vegetable soup, bread, and salad. Plain, but surprisingly good. After dinner, everyone silently drifted toward the gazebo. I headed back to my room, but noticed several people staring at me, confused and disapproving looks. I had not said anything, but I felt like I had broken an unspoken rule. That night, no one came to my door, but the next morning, Anna showed up, looking stern. She asked me why I had skipped meditation. I told her I did not think I needed to be there. I was not one of the followers, after all. Her tone shifted immediately. Everyone attends, staff included. It is not optional. She said if I would not participate, I had to leave. I did not want to give up the job or the money. I told myself I could handle 2 months. But after breakfast, I learned meditation sessions were not just a quick ritual. They lasted 2 hours. We sat packed, shoulder to shoulder, under the gazebo in the heat, cross-legged, eyes closed. It was oppressive. Every time I peeked, I saw people like Anna walking in circles, scanning us, sometimes making strange hand movements toward the participants. That is when I felt a real chill. Why did it matter if someone broke focus? What exactly were they monitoring for? At the end of each session, a man addressed the group, their leader I assumed. He talked about having a near-death experience that gave him cosmic clarity and how he had been chosen to awaken others. I could tell everyone around me revered him. Their expressions changed when he spoke, like they were listening to a prophet. It all started to feel much more like indoctrination than employment. After these grueling sessions, I had to jump straight into kitchen duties, cleaning and prepping dinner. We only got 2 meals a day, and there were no snacks or extras. If I made a mistake, like using too much soap, then I would be reprimanded. If I overslept, reprimanded. Punishments were either extra meditation or skip meals. There were days I only ate once, and they acted like that was perfectly normal. Eventually, I got a roommate, and to both of our shock, it was a guy, 4 years older than me. He had also applied for a job and ended up there late, but we were both taken aback when they put us in the same room. The whole place had made such a show about separating genders and pairing couples only if they had previously lived together. So, what was this? Even he looked unsettled when he realized the setup. He glanced around, like he expected someone to come in and correct it, but no one did. It was just us. That night, we sat on the lower bunk, quietly talking, trying to piece things together. I told him what I had seen so far. The forced meditations, the uniform control, the punishments. He did not seem surprised. He said that when he arrived, they took his phone and said it would be kept safe until the end of the program. I still had mine. It was dead from no signal, but they had not taken it yet. We decided, unofficially, to watch each other's backs. The next couple weeks blurred into more of the same, only worse. Meditations got longer. The speeches from the so-called teacher, he never gave his real name, only referred to himself as the vessel, started slipping from vague spiritual metaphors into more direct talk about cleansing the self and shedding the body. Meals were growing leaner. Still no meat, no dairy, but now the portions were shrinking. I overheard a woman ask for a second slice of bread and get told she was clinging to materialism. And then, the Sunday night gathering happened. These were always mandatory, always uncomfortable. But this time, the vessel was almost giddy. He stood in front of us with his arms raised, and beside him was a man lying on a table, just lying there like he was about to get surgery or something. He told us that to truly awaken, one had to die. Everyone nodded, not a whisper of concern, not even from the kids. He took a long, twisted white cloth, dipped it into water like it was a baptism, and wrapped it around the man's neck. I froze. Surely this was symbolic. Surely this was just part of a ritual. It wasn't. I watched as the man's body convulsed slightly, then stilled. People did not scream. They did not run. They smiled. Some closed their eyes in awe, like they were watching a miracle. Then the vessel began pounding the man's chest. Another woman, also slapping the man's cheeks and chanting something under her breath. It sounded rhythmic but garbled, like it was not English. Eventually, the man gasped. Air rushed into his lungs, and the crowd sighed with collective relief. A few even clapped softly. I wanted to throw up. Afterward, they helped the man sit up. His eyes were red and unfocused. He did not speak, just nodded, and they helped him off the stage. No one explained it. No one asked questions. I did not sleep that night. I was terrified. I lay in the dark and whispered to my roommate that we had to get out soon. He agreed, but we both knew we were out in the woods with no signal and no car, and we had no idea who or what would try to stop us. The next morning, everything felt wrong. I had not slept. Every sound outside my window made me flinch. I kept thinking about that man, how close he came to dying for whatever awakening they thought they were chasing. I wanted to believe he had volunteered, that it was all theater, some kind of twisted ritual with a safety net, but the look in his eyes when that rope went around his neck, that was not acting. Still, I stayed. I don't even know why. Fear, maybe. Or that weird paralysis that sets in when things get too strange to process. But that day was worse. They did not assign me any kitchen duties or chores. Anna told me I should take the day to reflect. I think she could tell I was slipping, that something in me had changed. I was starting to see them for what they were. So, I wandered the grounds alone, doing my best to act normal. I ended up back behind the cabins near the woods, in an area I had not paid much attention to before. There was a structure back there, partially hidden by trees. It looked like a greenhouse at first, or maybe a tool shed. The door was not locked. Inside, it was cold, unnaturally cold for the middle of summer. The air smelled metallic and wet. There was no glass, just mesh-covered slats along the roof and walls that let in a greenish kind of light. The room was empty, except for cages, 3 of them, large enough to crawl into. 2 were empty. The third held a girl. At first, I thought she was dead. She was curled up in the back, knees drawn to her chest, eyes open and unfocused. Her hair was matted, and her white dress was soaked through with something dark. I thought it was mud until I saw her feet, blistered and raw, like she had been dragged. When she finally noticed me, she did not speak. She did not even move. Just blinked slowly, once, and then held a finger to her lips. I wanted to scream. I wanted to run and get help, but help from who? I backed out, slowly, quietly, and closed the door like I was never there. I did not eat that day. I couldn't. I spent the rest of it lying on my bunk, shaking. My roommate noticed something was wrong right away. I told him everything, that someone was being held somewhere, that I did not think they would survive. That night was when I told him I was leaving for sure. I could not survive one more sunrise. I broke down. All the fear I had been holding in hit me at once, and I started crying, like really crying. Not just tears, but shaking, panic sobs. My roommate sat beside me, quietly, and let me get it out. Then he said something I had not let myself say out loud. You have to leave. I told him he had to come too. I could not just walk away and leave him behind, not after what we had seen. But he shook his head. I will help you get out, he said, but I need to stay. Someone has to take this to the police. He was convinced he could gather proof. He thought if he just stayed a little longer, maybe he could get photos or recordings, something they could not deny. I could see it in his face. He felt duped and used, and more importantly, angry. Like staying was his way of getting back at them. But I was terrified they would catch on to him, that he would disappear into the woods like he never came. Maybe end up caged up like that girl. Or maybe he'd end up selected for that ritual and they would just never revive him. Still, he insisted. So I packed my bag that night, stuffed it under the bunk, and waited until the building went still. When the moment felt right, he gave me the nod and we slipped through the halls. The silence in that place was oppressive, not peaceful, not calming. It was like the walls were listening. We made it to the front door. That is when Anna appeared. She stepped out from the shadows like she had been waiting for us. She had that awful, soft smile on her face. You are not allowed to leave during this sacred cycle, she said. Not please stay, not we're worried, not allowed. Before I could say anything, my roommate stepped between us. She is too young to be here, he snapped. You said this was a job, not an initiation. Anna's smile faltered. She turned her attention to me. If you walk away, you forfeit your compensation. I don't want it, I said flatly. Her voice dropped. You are also forbidden to recreate or copy any part of the retreat for personal gain. I laughed. It came out sharp and cracked. Are you serious? Why would I ever want to recreate any of this? She did not respond, just stared. That blank, placid look, like she was not even human anymore. Go, my roommate whispered. The second I started walking, it was like something in Anna just snapped, like I could see the flicker in her eyes. She grabbed my wrist as I was trying to leave and started trying to pull me back. She had started screaming for someone to come and help. My roommate was trying to help pry her off, but it was like she had some kind of inhuman strength. He finally managed to wedge himself between us, and I bolted. I looked back only once. I saw my roommate lying on the ground. It looked like Anna was holding a knife. Maybe I was wrong. Maybe it was something else. Maybe she had just punched him and caught him off guard or winded him or something. Either way, I had to take my chance. Otherwise, both of us would end up screwed. I ran to my car like the woods were about to swallow me. I half expected someone to come running out of the trees, but nothing happened. Just silence, pressing down on me until I was miles away. When I got home, I collapsed into my parents' arms, a sobbing mess. They did not understand at first. They'd thought I was off at a spiritual retreat making money. But I told them everything. The uniforms, the endless meditation, the death ritual, the man on the table, the little girl in the cage, and about the one person who helped me escape. I expected them to be skeptical, but my mom grabbed her purse and dragged me to the police station. The officer we spoke with was polite at first, but clearly doubtful. That changed when my mom pressed me to describe every detail. Names, layouts, the uniform, the leader, the ritual. I gave them everything. They wrote it all down. The officer nodded slowly. We will look into it. I never heard back directly from the police, but my parents kept their ears open. Word around town was that officers did visit the property a week later. They spoke to the leader, the vessel I guess. They were told the entire group was there willingly, that it was all part of a deep spiritual journey. When they asked if anyone wanted to leave, 2 people said yes. I never found out who. I pray one of them was my roommate. But because no one admitted they were being held and nothing illegal could be confirmed, the police did not pursue it. I never heard from that guy again. It is like he vanished, but I think about him often. I hope he got out safely. I hope he is alive. Hey, I hope you've enjoyed the story so far. If you do and you want to hear more, please leave a like and subscribe to my channel, and leave a comment down below, as it lets the algorithm know that you like my content and it promotes it to more people. My goal for the channel is to hit 50,000 subscribers, and we're closing in fast, so thank you, and back to the stories. Okay, so I never actually post on the boards. I just read green text from time to time. I decided that, just this once, while I have a few beers in me, and I can think about it completely without losing my shit, I will pass it along. B19, back in 1996, working at a McDonald's in buttfuck Nevada. Creepy ass white boy works there too. Seems chill, but always something off about him. Whatever, I am not scared. Other people there do not like him. Dude rides a bike to work, carries tire pump, patches, and spare inner tubes for the bike because someone who works there slashes his bike tires. Never complains about the shit people do. Someone opens a slat of 5 dozen eggs in his change of clothes. He says nothing, and nobody saw anything. Boss wants to fire him, never liked him, but he literally is the perfect worker. Always busts his ass, works like an illegal. Never seen a white boy work for 8 fucking hours without spending time coasting. Always full fucking throttle with this guy. Can't figure why we all get the creeps from him. Fuck that. Superstition is stupid. I try to be the bro. Hang with him. Few weeks later, he starts to relax and loosen up. Kinda friends. Bum cigs off each other. Now he's got a friend. Everyone starts disliking him less. Actually seems alright. Then, I get caught off hours making out with a girl who works with me. Solid 7 out of 10 in her uniform, easily 9 out of 10 in regular clothes. Called into office at McDonald's. What the fuck is going on? Oh shit, she is the owner's daughter. I'm fucking fired. So fucking fired. One of the guys we all worked with tips me off. It was Creepo who told the owner. Fucking insane rage. Roll up on him at work following week with some witnesses I know, friends of mine. Tell him I'm gonna beat the shit out of his bitch ass for fucking me over. Seems to not know what the fuck I'm talking about or why. Rage blocking common sense. As in hindsight, I realize the dude who said he ratted me out was the same guy who slashed Creepo's bike tires 3 times in 2 weeks. He is taking trash out the dumpster. Obviously not taking me seriously. Rage intensifies. Pendejo, you think I'm fucking playing? I have 5 inches on this white boy. I have been boxing since I was 13 with my dad, and I am not a pro, but I can hold my own in a fight. Know how to throw a punch. Throw a solid left cross. Southpaw guy here. Impact rattles up my arm to my shoulder. White boy literally does not rock back or anything. Feel like I punched a wall. White boy. Anon, I'm not gonna fight you. I still have 6 months probation, and I will get arrested if I fight even in self-defense. Fucking what? White boy continues heeling the trash bags he is carrying to the dumpster. We all watch him as he walks like we are not even fucking there. Now I'm worried that I'm really looking like a pussy. Pull out 1 pound bar I got from an ankle weight set a couple years before to put on more tone while I ran. Not brass knuckles, but weighted fist does real fucking damage. Shrug this off. He comes back out. Full fucking swing, clean contact with his cheekbone. Feel a popping and hear a crack. His head moves a little. Feel stabbing pain in my wrist. Broke my knuckle on impact, even with the weight. White boy looks at me. I told you, I'm not gonna fight you anon. I have work to do. See me in 6 months. Not really paying attention because broken knuckle is starting to hurt like a motherfucker. Notice, both places I hit this white boy aren't even red. Fucker made of concrete. Time skip 2 days after getting handcast. Others used to work with didn't even know he'd been hit. Never had so much as a bruise. A little nervous in retrospect. Is creepy to everyone again. No friends again. Closed himself off to everyone. He got fired 3 months later for refusing to come in sick with strep throat. Can't get this guy off my mind. Can't figure this guy out. Start work at a pizza place. Time passes. A year and a half later, hear about him again. I find out that this creepo now works at a grocery store not too far away from me. Fuck it. It is kinda stalkerish, but I decide I will drop by and see what he is up to. He remembers me. He is not upset though. By now, I know former friend was lying about white boy, which earned former friend a complete ass beating from me. I man the fuck up and I apologize to white boy. He shrugs, accepts my apology. He obviously does not care at all. I don't even think he's thought about me once since it happened. Awkward silence. I bow out. I don't hear about this guy for years after that. I still think about him from time to time though. I just don't fucking understand him. I can't make sense of what happened. Flash forward. Be married. 2 kids. Start going to mass again now that I've got a family. Hear about white boy again through the grapevine. He was mugged riding his bike. Oh shit, he okay? Yeah, the guys who tried to mug him got fucked up though. Feel a little ping of alarm. Look into it. They tried to mug him with a set of baseball bats on his way to the parking lot after he got off of work. His statement was the guy who broke his bat did it when he missed and hit the parking lot light pole instead. Hear rumor from friend's mugger, he insisted that the bat broke on white boy's head when they tried to hit him. Remember McDonald's parking lot 10 years before. TLDR. Even now I wonder If I was a stupid fucking teenager and picked a fight with a real-life unbreakable and only narrowly avoided getting curb stomped because he did not want to violate his probation. Fuck if I know what the actual truth is, but I still have nights where I wake up in a cold sweat just thinking about it.